A white police officer pepper sprays a young black boy, completely unaware of who the child's father is. What happens next will leave you speechless. The sun shone brightly over the busy neighborhood as Tyler, a young black boy, walked along the sidewalk. His backpack hung loosely over one shoulder, its worn straps swaying with each step. In a cheerful mood, Tyler's thoughts were filled with excitement. He couldn't wait to meet his friends at the park for a fun afternoon of games. All around him, the world felt alive. The laughter of children playing in a nearby yard, the steady hum of passing cars, and the chatter of pedestrians going about their day. But Tyler paid little attention to the bustle of the street, his mind focused only on the simple joys that awaited him. The park had always been his favorite place, his escape. A spot where he could forget all worries and just be a kid. Adjusting his backpack slightly, he quickened his pace, imagining his friends already waiting for him by their usual bench. Not far from where Tyler walked, a junior police officer stood inside a small convenience store, questioning the owner about a recent petty theft. The store owner claimed a young person had stolen items and fled before being caught. A witness, trying to be helpful, provided only a vague description, mentioning that the suspect was a black boy wearing certain clothes. That description, though incomplete and lacking crucial details, was all it took for the officer to jump to conclusions. His mind was made up. Without seeking proper evidence, he allowed his own bias to cloud his judgment, deciding that any black child in the vicinity could be the culprit. Just then, Tyler happened to pass by the store. The officer glanced through the large glass window, his eyes narrowing as they landed on the boy. Tyler, completely unaware of the scrutiny, walked on, his gaze scanning the horizon, lost in thought. The officer's expression hardened, his determination fueled not by reason or fairness, but by prejudice. Without hesitation, he stepped outside, his demeanor instantly aggressive. Despite Tyler's clothing not even matching the given description, the officer convinced himself that he had found the thief. To him, the mere fact that Tyler was a black boy near the shop was reason enough. His hand reached instinctively for the can of pepper spray on his belt, gripping it tightly as he approached. Tyler only noticed the officer when he was just a few steps away. Confused by the intense focus on him, he slowed down, unsure of what was happening. But before he could even utter a word, the officer raised the can and sprayed him directly in the face. The sharp sting hit instantly, blinding him as a burning pain seared through his eyes and skin. Letting out a startled cry, Tyler's backpack slipped from his shoulder, crashing to the ground as he stumbled backward. His hands flew to his face, desperately trying to wipe away the unbearable sting, but the pain only worsened. Tears streamed down his cheeks, mixing with the residue of the spray, making it impossible for him to see. His mind raced. What had just happened? Why had the officer attacked him? What had he done to deserve this? Panic set in. Fear gripped his chest. His breath came in ragged gasps as he stood there, clutching his burning face, completely overwhelmed. But the officer? He showed no concern. Instead, he stepped forward, roughly grabbing Tyler by the arm. The boy flinched at the harsh grip, his body trembling as he instinctively tried to pull away. He cried out in protest, but the officer ignored him, tightening his hold as he dragged the child toward the patrol car parked nearby. Tyler's legs struggled to keep up. He stumbled, his knees buckling slightly, but the officer didn't slow down. Instead, he yanked him forward with a cold, unfeeling force. The busy street around them blurred into the background. Passers-by stole glances, some curious, others concerned, but no one stepped in. The authority of the officer loomed too large, and Tyler's desperate cries were swallowed by the indifference of the crowd. As the patrol car came into view, dread settled deep in Tyler's chest. How had a simple walk to the park turned into this nightmare? With a trembling voice, he tried again, his words shaky as he insisted he had done nothing wrong. But the officer silenced him with a sharp order to be quiet. The door of the car was yanked open. Without care, the officer shoved Tyler inside, the boy landing awkwardly on the seat. He still clutched his face, the burning sensation refusing to fade. The door slammed shut behind him. Bang. The sound echoed in his ears as he sat there, shaking, tears streaming down his face. Circling the car, the officer climbed into the driver's seat. His expression remained cold, unreadable. Through the rearview mirror, he glanced at Tyler, his gaze devoid of sympathy. Without another word, he started the engine and pulled away, leaving Tyler's backpack abandoned on the sidewalk. Leaning his head against the seat, Tyler's small frame trembled with sobs. He had no idea where they were taking him. He didn't know what would happen next. All he knew was that he was scared, confused, and completely alone.